Good evening and welcome to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi coming to you live from just outside of Chicago, where we're broadcasting to millions worldwide on YouTube, Rumble, and X. And tonight we have a show that exposes everything they have been trying to hide. But first, grab your phone right now, text this stream to everyone you know who cares about this country. Why? Because big tech doesn't want this information getting out. They're suppressing us, but they can't stop person-to-person sharing. You know it, I know it, and they know it. In just 12 days, Donald Trump will make history reclaiming the White House in what might be the most significant inauguration in American history. But forces are already at work trying to prevent that from happening. We have exclusive intelligence about that, so stay tuned. And tonight's lineup is explosive. We're talking about California literally burning while their woke fire department runs out of water. Yes, you heard that right. We'll show you why Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass should be held criminally responsible for this disaster. Then, Biden's desperate move to pardon Fauci and Liz Cheney. It's happening, folks. We have the documents to prove it, and wait until you see Donald Trump's bold moves as he continues to troll Canada and acquire strategic territories. Yes, the globalists are losing their minds over this one. And speaking of losing minds, we have disturbing new intelligence about potential inauguration threats. General Flynn is sounding the alarm, and you need to hear why. Now, I want to talk directly to you, our viewers. Your voice matters in this fight. So throughout the show, we'll be featuring your Super Chats and Rumble Rants right here on the screen. That's right, your comments, your thoughts broadcast to the world. And between segments, we'll be giving priority to our Super Chat supporters because you are the backbone of this operation. And speaking of support, we've launched our channel memberships with exclusive perks. Each level gets you special acknowledgement in the chat room and access to the Next News Network team. The links are in the description, but that is not all. We've got our brand new MAG Avengers merchandise line at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Limited edition gear that lets everyone know where you stand in this fight for truth. And trust me, you are going to want to represent after tonight's show. Now, I need to be clear about something. This operation, this truth-telling mission is not free. The powers that be would love nothing more than to shut us down, and that's why we need your support through donations. The links are in the description. Every dollar helps us keep exposing the truth they don't want you to hear, and you can also support our sponsors linked below. So buckle up, patriots. Share the stream. Join our channel, grab your exclusive MAG Avengers gear, and get ready for the most explosive Raw feed yet. We've got historical footage, shocking documents, and breaking news that will change how you see everything. And remember, we are streaming live right now on YouTube, Rumble, and X. Follow us on all platforms because you never know when the silence will be here. We will still be broadcasting the truth on every platform. Now let's welcome you to the show. Craig is reporting for duty with a super chat of $5 right out the gate. What is up, Craig? Thank you for that. Any other super chats to speak of getting here? Oh, we got Kim Capone, a coffee cup with the words tired. Well, not if you're drinking coffee, Kim. Thank you for that $1.99. Now I can buy my wife a cup of coffee. Appreciate that. Let's see who else is in the house tonight. Let's see here. I'm not a big coffee drinker. I'm not. Okay, Port Charlotte here. DJ G-Rod in the house. Pothead Kenny, what's up? We've got Sarah watching from Japan. Whoa, Domo Arigato. Is that even a thing? I don't know. I know it's just a song. Bella is here. Free Truth Show in Nebraska. Kim Capone, Jeremy Olson, Gen X, Patricia Duff, 8K Get Right, James Snowden. What's up, man? We've got Ryan in the house and William Adams, NC Prepper, Velvet and Lace, Elizabeth Storm, Heather Reeve. What's up, Heather? Good to see you again. Who else is here? Let's see. We got Bella. We've got John. We've got Lamb's Grace, Alex Bleeping Jones in the house. We've got Scott Kelly, William Adams. We've got R. Boyd. What's up, man? How you doing? Ren T, Michael T, Stephanie Dickel, Marnie Savick, Joyce Quillen, PJCC West representing from Ireland. What's up, my Irish friend? We got Jeanette here. Jonelle Santana, TTTR, what's up from New Zealand? Good to see you. Everyone's here. Let's get to it, folks. We've got a lot of news, and it's a crazy, crazy night. Let's go. When your house is burning down, do you care about your firefighters' pronouns? Well, tonight we're exposing how DEI policies and liberal incompetence turn the Pacific Palisades inferno into a preventable catastrophe. Fire hydrants running dry, firefighters, well, fired over vaccine mandates, and a fire chief more focused on diversity training than fire prevention. James Woods in tears. Hollywood's evacuating, and Mayor Karen Bass, well, she was in Ghana while her city turned to ash. But here's the real kicker. They had the water, they had the firefighters, and they chose wokeness over safety. The price tag, billions in damage and countless lives destroyed. Now, patriots, as California burns, your retirement savings could be going up in smoke too, just like those empty reservoirs in Los Angeles. The U.S. dollar's running dry. Well, Gavin Newsom plays politics with water management. Smart Americans are protecting their wealth with gold. Call Global Gold Investments at 888-700-4148 for your free 2025 Protect Your Wealth and Retirement Guide. Like those brave firefighters who were fired for standing their ground, you need to take a stand to protect your financial future. Get up to $1,000 in free silver when you mention Next News. Don't let your savings burn. Call 888-700-4148 now. Okay, folks, we have got a lot to get into in this segment, and Donald Trump is not holding back. He is in D.C. right now. Here's what he had to say.
In California, Mr. President, during the pandemic, you often said that you didn't believe that you should bail out blue states that you believe were being mismanaged. Given your criticism of Governor Gavin Newsom, are you willing to work with him, and do you believe that federal aid should be provided to California for as long as it takes?
Well, it's very sad because I've been trying to get Gavin Newsom to allow water to come. You'd have tremendous water up there. They send it out to the Pacific because they're trying to protect a tiny little fish, which is in other areas, by the way, called a smelt. And for the sake of a smelt, they have no water. They had no water in the fire hydrants today in Los Angeles. It was a terrible thing. And we're going to get that done. It's going to finally be done. I got it done from the federal side, and he didn't want to sign it, but it's not going to happen again like that. There's no reason. Can you imagine? You have farmers that don't have any water in California. They have plenty of water. They don't have a drought. They send it out to the Pacific, and it's crazy. So,
yeah, it's crazy. 100% crazy. And here is Gavin Newsom responding to President Trump.
On to it.
I hate to even ask this question, but the president-elect chose to attack you, blame you for this.
One can't even respond to it. I mean, people are literally fleeing. People have lost their lives. Kids lost their schools. Families completely torn asunder. Churches burned down. This guy wanted to politicize it. I have a lot of thoughts, and I know what I want to say. I won't. I stood next to a president of the United States of America today, and I was proud to be with Joe Biden. And he had the backs of every single person in this community. He didn't play politics, didn't try to divide any of us.
Finally.
Oh, yeah, but he was actually there to welcome the birth of his new great-grandchild. And now we're learning, just a few moments ago, a new fire has just exploded in the Hollywood Hills. There's no doubt the Hollywood sign is going to be going up next, and that is going to be a visual for the history books. Elon Musk clowning. Can't make this up. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is going all Joe Biden, not knowing what she's saying. Yeah, wait till you see this clip. This was just posted about 60 minutes ago. They didn't even write the web address for people watching so they would know where to go to get relief. And just watch this.
Right now, if you need help, emergency information, resources, and shelter is available. All of this can be found at URL. Los Angeles, together is how we will get through this. Through the heroism of our firefighters, the vigilance.
Did you catch
right
that?
Now, if URL be found at URL.
Yeah, it can all be found at URL. So if your house has been burned down, you have just the clothes on your back and crying children, and your car has been destroyed, just go to URL. That's the incompetence that we are dealing with right now. The people of California are dealing with right now. It is absolutely insane. Oh, and speaking of insane, Cernovich just posted this. Okay, this is ABC World News Tonight. This is David Muir. Okay, take a look at what's on his back there. You see that? Oh, he wants to look fashionable while he's wearing his ABC News fire jacket. So he decided to tighten it up with some clothespins. Yeah, you don't want to risk the baggy look while you're on television, David Muir. That's what he is concerned about. His personal optics, while people don't even have coats to put on to protect themselves. How outrageous is this? Milo Yiannopoulos, he says, fire has reached the Hollywood Hills. It's going to take out the sign. And here is, oh, did you know this? This is back in 2022 when the LA County Fire Department donated its surplus supplies to Ukraine.
Body armor. The LA County Fire Department, the LA City Fire Department, and the Air National Guard have collaborated to send some of their surplus equipment to the war-torn country. It's part of a nationwide effort among agencies across the U.S. The donated supplies include hoses, nozzles, helmets, body armor, and more.
Yeah, I wonder what that equipment could be used for now. I don't know. I guess we'll never know because it's in Ukraine. Tens of billions of unnecessary property damage, but hey, at least the fire department is diverse. Yes, this is the fire chief, the assistant chief, and the training commander in the Los Angeles Fire Department posing for a group photo. Yeah. Isn't that beautiful? Great. A great team there. J.D. Vance is on record now. 5 hours ago, we will fight to rehire every firefighter wrongfully terminated with back pay. Trump will hire back every firefighter that was let go because they refused to take the mandates.
Only terminated to speak out about unconstitutional COVID vaccine mandates imposed by the current administration. We're going to abolish every single mandate, and we're going to fight to rehire every firefighter who was wrongly terminated with all the back pay that they deserve.
So J.D. Vance already working with President Trump to right a wrong that has now caused so much damage. Take a look at this picture here. This is AZ Intel, another photo from Pacific Palisades in Los Angeles, California. Around 960 homes destroyed. Look at this. Every single home completely annihilated. I mean, zooming in, look at this. There are no homes left for these people to even go to. All you can see are the streets. I can't even believe this is happening. But here we are. 6 hours ago, Donald Trump posted a Truth Social. The fires in Los Angeles may go down in dollar amount as the worst in the history of our country. In many circles, they're doubting whether insurance companies will even have enough money to pay for this catastrophe. Let this serve and be emblematic of the gross incompetence and mismanagement of the Biden-Newsom duo. January 20th cannot come fast enough. Donald Trump on a tear today. Oh, and do you guys see this clip? Oh, yeah, this is great. Resist the Mainstream posted this 9 hours ago. This is when Adam Carolla shared that when he applied to be a firefighter in Los Angeles, he had to wait 7 years to get called back for an exam because he wasn't black, Hispanic, or a woman.
I took it. Geez, I want to talk about my white privilege so badly. I graduated North Hollywood High with a 1.7 GPA. I could not find a job. I walked to a fire station in North Hollywood. I was 19. I was living in the garage of my family home. My mom was on welfare and food stamps. And I said, can I get a job as a fireman? And they said, no, because you're not black, Hispanic, or a woman. We'll see in about 7 years. And I went to a construction site and dug ditches and picked up garbage for the next 7 years. I got a letter in the mail sent to my father's house saying, your time has come to do the written exam for the LA Fire Department. I took it, and I was standing in line, and I had a young woman of color standing behind me in line, and I said, just out of curiosity, when did you sign up to become a fireman? Because I did it, or a person, 7 years ago, and she said, Wednesday. That is an example of my white privilege.
Yeah, and that's exactly why the city is in flames right now. Pure incompetence. Here's another photograph. Shock photo. Aerial drone footage reveals the devastation in Pacific Palisades, a once wealthy area northwest of Santa Monica with a population exceeding 23,000. Some residents estimate that as much as 75% of the neighborhood has been reduced to rubble. Hollywood now shutting down As the Palisades fire rages, Critics' Choice has been postponed, as well as the Price is Right taping has been canceled. I'm sure there are others. Here is another shot here. This is the new evacuation order has been issued. 293,000 people are now under mandatory evacuation in Los Angeles, a 300% increase since this morning. The new evacuation order just came in for Santa Monica area. Over 400,000 people are without power, and the fires are still 0% contained. State Farm, we're finding out this 5 hours ago. State Farm, once one of the biggest insurers in California, canceled hundreds of homeowners' policies last summer in Pacific Palisades, the same area which is now being ravaged by a devastating wildfire. That's according to Newsweek. And here you have, this is Libs of TikTok posting. This is the Los Angeles Fire Chief, Kristen Crowley. She boasted about being the first female and LGBTQ fire chief in the Los Angeles Fire Department. Promoting a culture of DEI is her priority. Does that make you feel safer? Well, as I was watching the coverage with Angie today, I had this feeling the moment I saw her on the screen, it was like, it hit me like a bolt of lightning. And I said, this is a DEI hire right out the gate. This is DEI. And I went to X and I made this post. Instinctively, I had this feeling. So I began to look deeper, and lo and behold, my instincts were proven correct. Because everything woke turns to shit, as Donald Trump would say. Case in point, Fire Chief Kristen M. Crowley. Lionel Media, Real James Woods also felt it too, because fire does not care about diversity, equity, and inclusion. It destroys everything and doesn't ask for pronouns. But hey, make sure you have a diverse fire department. Making Adam Carolla wait 7 years. This is a picture of the fire chief, and she was the community grand marshal of the LA Pride Parade. Yes, she was. And here she is again. We have another video here. Los Angeles appointed its first openly LGBTQ and female fire chief whose vision prioritizes diversity because that's what matters.
And to
I'm super inspired.
She took time out of her already busy schedule to tell us about her vision for the department's future, one that includes a 3-year strategic plan to increase diversity.
People ask me, well, what number are you looking for? I say, I'm not looking for a number. It's never enough.
Out of 3,300 city firefighters, only 115 are women right now. She's already looking at ways to change that. She's quick to point out that doing so has a greater purpose, attracting the best and brightest for the job.
They feel included, they feel valued, and they feel part of a cohesive team.
The chief also checks another box when it comes to inclusivity and diversity at this department. She's a proud member of the LGBTQ community.
That just kind of opens the door of people that thought, wow, I didn't even know that was an opportunity for me.
Oh, yeah. What how is that not an opportunity? Like, are you serious? Your sexual orientation is going to preclude you from joining the fire department? Is that really true? Oh, and these are people walking around in Los Angeles going, well, since, I'm of this alphabet group, I can't apply. No, these are things that they make up. Ian Miles Chung, California is captured, he says, by retarded environmental policies that prevent them from doing any prescribed burning. U.S. Forest Service decision to halt prescribed burns in California. Is history repeating? Yeah, this happens every year in California. And here we have this, Gavin Newsom explaining back in April of 2021 that wildfire preparedness will be better now that Biden's in office instead of Trump. This is April of 21.
But that's what's different now is we are committed as a team, as a partnership with the legislature and other state agencies, including now the federal government, no longer a sparring partner, but a working partner. Federal government, where we're not addressing headwinds, but tailwinds in terms of the support, a memorandum of understanding, doubling our respective commitments to vegetation management and forest management and prescribed burns, to support the Biden administration with resources, not just rhetoric, to help this collective cause. It's a different paradigm. It's a different framework. That's what's different now.
And hat tip to Maze Moore for cutting that beautiful green screen effect. Oh, but that's just the tip of the iceberg, folks. You know, they're blaming it on climate change, of course. They're blaming it on climate change because apparently arson and bad forest management are just too boring. Remember, we're always 8 to 9 years from doom, so panic responsibly and hand over your gas stoves. Let's take a look at this, another clip.
Cities going on.
A federal report today predicted possible catastrophic warming of the Earth by the 1990s with a strong climate change.
That was 1983 NBC News. Now let's jump to Bernie Sanders in 2020.
The scientists are telling us that we don't get our act together within the next 8 or 9 years. We're talking about cities all over the world, major cities going underwater.
A federal.
Actually, no, it's now cities on fire, but it's not because of that reason. Now, Fox News reports California spent $500 million on DEI initiatives, including $50K on racial equity fish department training. That's according to a nonprofit. Robbie Starbuck posting that California spent this money on DEI initiatives. Everyone affected by the fire should ask themselves if they'd be safe if that money was used to hire more firefighters, improve infrastructure, and fix their water crisis instead. DEI is divisive, deadly, and destructive. And check this out. This was 3 months ago. 3 months ago, Donald Trump appeared on the Joe Rogan podcast. And he dropped the truth bomb. Listen.
Tiny little fish. They said, we have no water. I said, do you have a drought? No, we don't have a drought. I said, why don't you have no water? Because the water isn't allowed to flow down. It's got a natural flow from Canada all the way up north of water, more water than they could ever use. And in order to protect a tiny little fish, the water up north gets routed into the Pacific Ocean. Millions and millions of gallons of water gets poured. I could have water for all of that land. Water for your forests. You know, your forests are dry as a bone.
Yeah.
Okay?
Dangerous.
That water could be routed. You know, you could have everything. Oh, not only dangerous, billions of dollars a year they spend on forest fires. And, you know, there's a case with the environment. They're not allowed to rake their forests because you're not allowed to touch it. And all they have to do is clean their forest, meaning rake it up, get rid of the leaves, get rid of, leaves that are sitting there for 5 years. And
we'll certainly get rid of the dead fall.
And get rid of the trees that are fallen that are like.
But, you can't do that because that's just not environmentally sound. Here's where Joe Biden today hijacked a California wildfire briefing to announce that he is a great-grandfather. Libs of TikTok points out he always makes it about himself. Yes, we can't wait for January 20th when Trump returns.
Baby girl, baby boy. So I remember this day for a lot of long reasons. Thank you, Press. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Press. Thank you, Press. Go away, Press. Yeah. Joe Biden clearly overjoyed. He has a great grandchild now. A great grandfather. He's a great grandfather. Yeah. And he was whisked off to get his ice cream. Here we have this from Human David Hameni, MD, PhD. He's pretty pissed. He says, I pay 14.4% state income tax, 10.5% in sales tax, tens of thousands a year in property tax, heavy utility tax, thousands in permit fees for minor changes to my home. And they don't have enough fire personnel? Meanwhile, Santa Monica City has an army of DEI staff making $200,000 a year. KTLA. He's quote tweeting, we're doing the very best we can, says the LA County Fire Chief, but we don't have enough fire personnel in LA County between all the department to handle this. Oh, yeah, it gets even worse. We have some more. There is a clip here. This is an apartment complex and supermarket currently on fire in Altadena, California. Firefighters still have no water, according to the radio traffic.
Changes, and we're about that. And I spoke a little bit earlier today with Lindsay Horvath, one of the board members for the LA County Supervisors, and said, you know, how does this happen? And she said, look, we need to do changes, and we're in the midst of already talking about a different water plan for LA County, and this obviously needs to be part of what they do differently going forward. Let's go now to...
Yeah, differently for sure. If you're wondering, however, where this is Fox 11 RNC Research posting. If you're wondering where is LA Mayor Karen Bass, she's been in Ghana, and apparently she did return.
If you're wondering where is LA Mayor Karen Bass, she's been in Ghana. So she's apparently on her way back. That's why we have not seen her on the scene. We saw Governor Newsom at the scene earlier. We know that President Biden happens to be in town, but we have not seen him on camera with all of this. If you're wondering,
Joe Biden just happened to be in town because of the birth of his great grandchild. And here, let's take a little trip back, shall we? Here's a brave Los Angeles firefighter who said hell no to the mandates.
My employment after the worst time of COVID, after the largest, most deadly spike, downtrends in death, my employer, a governing body, is deciding to mandate a rushed vaccine. Not only that it will be mandate, but it's a condition of my employment. We've gone from essential frontline worker to next on the chopping block.
And what happened? How many people decided to submit to the mandate and how many people didn't? And how many people weren't hired because they didn't? Another symptom of the problem. Here's the photo op that was taken earlier today. This was posted by Mayor Karen Bass. Paul Zipula, he writes that LA Mayor Karen Bass and Governor Gavin Newsom orchestrated a photo op in the ruins of Los Angeles that they're mostly responsible for creating. This appearance is extremely transparent, staged, and offensive. Oh, but it gets even worse. Here we have Elon Musk agreeing with Mike Solana. Global warming ate my homework. Doesn't work anymore. Literally every single politician in California responsible for the catastrophic failure to prepare for this, from water management and control, are responsible. Oh, but this is probably one of the most priceless moments of the entire day. When Karen Bass finally showed up from her trip from Ghana, like, what are you doing in Ghana? Why are you there? Are you campaigning? Are you the mayor? Are you the ambassador? What are you doing there? So she decides to show up, and she refuses to answer any questions. She has silence for 2 minutes. Watch.
Do you owe citizens an apology?
And let me make a point here. This is Sky News. All right, Sky News. You got a reporter acting totally polite, asking very clear questions. Psh, dead silence.
Do you owe citizens an apology for being absent while their homes were burning? Do you regret cutting the fire department budget by millions of dollars, Madam Mayor? Have you nothing to say today? Can you back up, appreciate it. Have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today? Elon Musk says that you're utterly incompetent. Are you considering your position? Madam Mayor, have you absolutely nothing to say to the citizens today who are dealing with this disaster? No apology for them? Do you think you should have been visiting Ghana while this was unfolding back home? Madam Mayor, let me ask you just again, have you anything to say to the citizens today as you return?
No. They're gonna come. Ma'am, hold on 1 second.
Madam Mayor, just a few words for the citizens today as you return to deal with the catastrophe.
Can you take this down?
Saved by the restricted zone here.
David, as you say, she wasn't very keen to answer any of your questions there. And fire chiefs are also admitting that they just don't have enough personnel to take out the fires.
Yeah, they're fighting all sorts of challenges. They're talking about a water shortage. There are reports of fire hydrant failures. They've been unable to use firefighting aircraft for much of the day due to the smoke that is billowing ominously from the hills where the wildfires are raging. And I suppose despite that political storm, this is, of course, at its heart, a human story, because we've now 80,000 people evacuated. Tens of thousands of others are on standby to be evacuated. 2 lives have been lost in the Eaton fire, which is what's causing the consequence behind us. The city's iconic landscape almost shrouded completely by the smoke. And they're really just taking it one step at a time, hoping at some stage the wind's going to change direction or to die down, and that they're going to be able to get this fire under control.
Can you believe that, though? Karen Bass, dead silent. She had the floor. The camera was there. The mic was on. She could have offered a message of hope, but she didn't. She could have said anything, but she sat in silence and shame because a reporter caught her at the airport. Unfreaking believable. Donald Trump posted this: no water in the fire hydrants, no money in FEMA. This is what Joe Biden is leaving me. Thanks, Joe. Here's actor James Woods. Oh, man. Charlie Kirk posted this. Actor James Woods breaks down in tears as he describes the fires in L.A.
Through and now down the hill, we finally got into the Sunset congestion. It's 9 miles to Beverly Hills. It takes us usually about 25 minutes. Took 2.5 hours. And you have to understand, somebody didn't charge their car, their electric car, didn't put gas in their gasoline car, and now they're on Sunset. Oh, I got to abandon my car, and now the fire trucks can't get through, and now people can't walk. When we couldn't get our garage door open because the wind was blocking, because our door goes up like this, I said, oh my God, we're up in the hills here. And we got to walk out. I'm 77 years old, man. I can't walk up these hills. It's like Mount Everest here. It's like, pretty steep. So, it's just I posted this on X, but Sarah was on with her 8-year-old niece last night. And she came out. I'm sorry. Just, one day you're swimming in the pool and the next day it's all gone. But she came out with her little Yeti piggy bank for us to rebuild our house.
Oh my gosh, James Woods, we all hope that you will be able to rebuild your house, maybe starting with that little Yeti piggy bank. And we're just glad that you're okay and your wife is okay.
I'm sorry,
you have your
I'm
lives.
usually...
Yeah, no, I mean, this is real and it's raw.
I thought
and
I would
you,
be stronger than this.
you don't need, you are, you know what? It's strength is not measured by whether, you hold in crying or not. Strength is what you are doing now and helping your neighbors and shining a light on the great, amazing work of all those firefighters and emergency crews out there. You have so much strength, and we appreciate you coming on to reflect what so many others just like you are experiencing in that raw emotion right now. We wish you the best, you and your wife, as you rebuild your lives. So many people are doing that right now and trying to process what's going on. So, James, and also keep us posted on your 94-year-old neighbor and everything going there. We're going to continue to talk, and we wish you the very best.
He's okay.
Yeah.
He's on the hill. We find.
Oh, man, this is just too much. Too much, man. Too much. Yeah, here's Donald Trump Jr. Oh, look, of course, the LA Fire Department donated a bunch of their supplies to Ukraine. John Lefevre and the LA Fire Department sent surplus equipment to Ukraine. Yeah, you saw that clip. LA is burning down, and guess what? Joe Biden sending $500 million more to Ukraine today. $500 million to Ukraine. Are these folks going to get a $750 check too? like the folks over in Maui, right? The people in Ukraine, yeah, check after check after check after check, your money. Oh, man. This is criminal. Absolutely criminal. But you know what's even more criminal? Look at this video here. Remember, my friends, fire doesn't ask for your pronouns. It doesn't. And in this video, this is End Wokeness. They posted this. LA County recently posted this video on how they make their firefighters train in cultural inclusivity, equity, and diversity. Now, let me ask you this. How does that make you a more effective person when you are battling a blaze? Get ready to be stunned.
Financial. We are hosting our new employee orientation, and our focus is to teach our new employees for them to understand cultural competency.
Oh, what? Oh, this is their new employee orientation. Maybe they could do an orientation on how to battle a blaze, or you know, do something that's fire related. Oh my goodness. This is just too much. Okay, I'm gonna roll it back. It's ready for this. Go. Let's see it. God.
We are hosting our new employee orientation, and our focus is to teach our new employees for them to understand cultural competency, identify implicit and unconscious bias, and be aware of the importance of us having a diverse and inclusive workforce.
Diversity is important because the different people bring different lenses to their job, and those different ideas, those different lenses are important to have the best practices for our industry.
We have people here from hazmat, we have dispatchers in the room, we have people that are responsible for financial management, we have our information management division, and also from human resources. So we have a variety of professionals that are receiving this training.
We teach people how to deal with conflict responsively, how to have challenging conversations, break down stereotypes, and learn more about cultural competence. And so we do this by working to advance equity throughout community partners and internal departments within Los Angeles County.
I welcome all of you in this room to join, whether you're LGBTQ plus or not, or you're just an ally, you have family members, anybody that's willing to engage and learn and grow from the opportunities that this experience has.
Okay, that is
to advance equity throughout community.
That is who is this person that they just brought up in here? This is what was the title on the screen? Are you ready? Let's see who this is. This is
anybody
Tony.
that's
Tony. Oh, what happened?
Grow from the opportunity that's willing to engage. Or you're just an ally. You have
Tony Arellano, LGBTQ plus Infinity, an allies group representing
family members, anybody that's willing to engage and learn and grow from the opportunities that this experience has presented me with.
The Los Angeles County Fire Department would be recognized nationally and possibly even globally as an agency that was very serious about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and made some substantive changes so that everybody could feel safe and feel included.
On behalf of LA County Fire Department, we are so proud of our mission, which is to be proud protectors of life, the environment, and property. If you want more information about our department, please visit us at fire.lacounty.gov.
Oh, at least they got the URL correct there, huh? Listen, if you are in the role of first responder, your role is to save lives. Bottom line. It doesn't matter what your gender is, your sexual orientation. It is about humanity at its core. So there is really no need for any of this training. And the money and time wasted Unbelievable. Here it is, 8 hours ago. On a day where Americans in Los Angeles are watching their homes, pets, and businesses burn and could use some aid, the Biden administration is preparing to send another $500 million to Ukraine. Oh, and we have this. Reports of looting underway in the Pacific Palisades area as LAFD requests additional resources. People are trying to break into homes up here. It's Armageddon. This is from Think Tank Franks. I haven't heard this yet, so let's see.
Defense 2, go ahead. I could use some more resources up here at Pinecrest. I need because I do have trying to break into homes up here. 14. Copy that. Can you go ahead and give me a rundown of your resources?
They're trying to break into homes. Yeah, I posted this last night. Joe Biden, of course, it's AI generated. I need to make sure that everyone is very clear here. This is an AI generated image. It's my editorial visualization, if you will. Because I can't draw this myself, I used an AI image generator. Okay, so consider this like a cartoon representation of the insanity that I would have drawn if I was a cartoonist. Joe Biden standing on the rubble and ash in Palisades, holding balloons and a $750 check as a family looks on. Oh, yeah. Here's a view from a flight arriving into LAX. Look at the fire. Look at the black where there's no electricity, and it's just creeping. 16 hours ago, James was right. This fire is not from climate change, you ignorant asshole. It's because liberal idiots like you elect liberal idiots like Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass. One doesn't understand the first thing about fire management, and the other can't fill water reservoirs. Tens of billions of unnecessary property damage, but at least the fire department is diverse. Fire hydrants out of water.
The other question has, but their hands have been tied, and they can't fight a fire without water and the resources that are needed. Everybody knew these winds were coming. The other question has to be, were all the things in place to try to, again, mitigate the damage here? But the real issue to me is twofold. We've had decades to go remove the brush in these hills that spread so quickly. And the second is, you got to have water. And my understanding is the reservoir was not refilled in time and in a timely manner to keep the hydrants going. So that's a failure, whether on DWP's part or another city agency. But this is basic stuff. This isn't high science here. And it's all about leadership and management that we're seeing a failure of. And all of these residents are paying the ultimate price for that.
That was going to be my next question, is why isn't there water in the fire hydrants? That doesn't make any sense.
You're right. That's a good question. And I think you should start asking, why don't you call the mayor who's out of the country and ask her and get an answer from her?
Well, they say she's on her way back, and that would be a great question to ask her tomorrow if she's at this briefing at 8 o'clock in the morning, because I think there's a lot of people that are outraged by that fact tonight when they look at scenes like this, at businesses that people have worked really, really, really hard to build, and homes that people's entire livelihoods are going up in flames tonight. So for you, watching this and seeing those flames, this...
Literally up in flames. Up in flames. Amuse posted this. 8 years after California voters approved a $7.5 billion water bond to construct water storage facilities, not one project has reached completion. Meanwhile, untold millions of gallons of fresh snowmelt and rain continue to flow wastefully into the Pacific Ocean. Look at that beautiful water. All going to waste, and it could have been going into reservoirs to save these people's homes and lives. It is absolutely disgraceful Here we have this both snurdly posting. Karen Bass, Democrat mayor of Los Angeles, cut the firefighting budget by over $17 million months before this current set of wildfires broke out. I guess, given all the sanctuary spending, they couldn't keep firefighters fully funded. And he quotes the New York Post. $17.6 million cut from the fire department. This, I mean, you got ABC News, David Muir with clothespins. I mean, at least, this woman can't even get the URL correct for people to get help. They donated all their equipment, reserve or extra whatever equipment, to Ukraine. Joe Biden is handing over $500 million to Ukraine as well. The DEI initiatives are just front and center for this whole thing. And I smelled it the minute I saw that woman on television, the chief, today. So all we can do is we can just pray for these people. Pray for Gavin Newsom. Pray for Karen Bass. Pray for that fire chief. And most importantly, pray for the people who are affected. Let's see, we have Karen Bass. This is Real America's Voice. Karen Bass decided this year to decrease California's firefighter budget by $23 million. Natalie Winters details how Biden regime and the Democrats have set California up for failure. Let's listen.
I'm only surprised. And let's walk through that, right? When I said I wanted to turn California red, I didn't mean like this. Now, the brilliant Karen Bass, who is over in Ghana right now, I think, attending some inauguration. For those of you who know her track record and her history, I'm only surprised she's not in China, kowtowing over there. But she thought maybe she's California's Lori Lightfoot. How about that? She decided this year that $23 million, I think, which amounts to about a 25% or something like that, decrease in California's firefighting budget would be a good idea. That, of course, on top of massive shortages and layoffs of the best and the boldest and the brightest in terms of California's firefighters. Because why? They refused to get vaccinated. So now we're left with all the ones that both ideologically were weak and kowtowed to the mandate and are actually vaccinated. We can see how that's going to end up. The Biden administration, regime, thought that it would be a good idea to stop all the controlled burns, to appease the Greta Thunbergs of the world and the climate change cultists and the WEF green energy agenda. The fire hydrants up there don't even have water because apparently you can't divert the copious amounts of water that flows through that great state because some fish are maybe going to die in the name of environmentalism. And in 2014, Californians actually overwhelmingly voted to spend and allocate billions of dollars on storing that water so they could use it in emergency situations like this. But guess who still hasn't done a damn thing about that? A guy by the name of Gavin Newsom. A guy also by the name of Gavin Newsom also thought it'd be a good idea to spend, I think the figure is $11 billion to build 1,600 feet, not miles, feet, of high-speed rail. A state that is forced to shell out tens of billions of dollars. I think last year was $21.8 billion annually for illegal immigration. And then to cap it all off, this is really going to get you mad, so buckle up. LA County Fire is donating supplies to Ukraine's first responders.
Yep. It's all over. It's all over for Los Angeles. It's all over for Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom. Thank God Donald Trump is on his way in because we need him now more than ever. And he's going to fix this stuff, man. He's going to fix it so we don't have scenes like this anymore. Now, the devastation in Pacific Palisades reveals a deeper crisis in America. While liberals blame climate change, we've shown you the real culprits. DEI policies that prioritize pronouns over performance. Politicians who send fire equipment to Ukraine while California burns, and a leadership so focused on wokeness they forgot about water management. James Wood said it best, it's not about climate change, it's about criminal incompetence. The question we need to ask ourselves tonight is this: how many more American communities need to burn before we admit that woke policies are literally killing us? Show your support for real American values with our exclusive MAGA Avengers collection at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. God. What a mess, man. What a mess. Super chats came in during that segment. A bunch of people were gifting. Wow. Okay, you guys know the rules. I got to go through this. Let's see here. We got, my goodness, 41 new members. How did that happen? What the heck? What? Wow. Okay. All right. $2 from Northern Pike. Super Proc 65 water bad. Drunken Chef Jeff $4.99. Thank you very much for that. Patty has become a member. Welcome, Patty, to the club. And Emmanuel Greco, Lahaina, Hawaii, all over again. $20. Thank you. Paige Turner, pair character, exaggeratingly stretched his arm forward to offer a cup of coffee. Crypto Crackhead. He's the one dropping all these memberships. What the heck? 10 Next News Network sponsorships. Wow, look at all these people. And another one. Is that another 10? My goodness. I think he did all 40, Brian. Crypto Crackhead on a roll. Holy cow. That is amazing. Thank you. And Carlos Figueroa dropping $5 from Atlanta. This is heartbreaking. It certainly is. Okay, let's get to our next topic, because it is about to happen. It's all about to go down. Okay. Why would someone pardon someone? No, let me start over, Brian. Why would someone? I hate saying it twice. Let's take two. Take two. All right. I'm seeing all you guys chat. I love you guys. Why would you pardon someone who claims they did nothing wrong? Well, tonight we're exposing Biden's desperate attempt to shield Anthony Fauci and Liz Cheney from justice. As we speak, the White House is preparing preemptive pardons for the very architects of America's suffering. Fauci, the man who locked down our nation, pushed deadly mandates, and lied to Congress about gain-of-function research. And Cheney, the J6 winch hunt leader, who turned her back on American values. Senator Rand Paul confirms what we have known all along. These aren't acts of mercy. They are admissions of guilt. And just as Biden tries to cover up Fauci's aging crimes, Americans everywhere are fighting their own battle with aging. But unlike these deep state pardons, there is a legitimate solution. While Fauci faces potential accountability for misleading America about health science, our collagen formula actually delivers real results. So don't let time be your enemy. Visit healthwithgary.com and take advantage of our 51% off special. Unlike Fauci's failed policies, this is science that actually works. Yes, make sure you get there and join the thousands of Americans who've discovered the real path to wellness. Donald Trump on Capitol Hill just moments ago, dissing Liz Cheney, saying she lost by 42 points and he doesn't care about her. He cares about the American people. Yes, Liz Cheney, she is on the list. Let's go to that moment.
Liz Cheney, Biden pardon Liz Cheney. What's your message for President Biden? He says he.
Oh, I thought it was ridiculous that he did that, but we have more important things to talk about. Liz Cheney was, she lost in the Republican Party, as you know, in her state, by the biggest margin in the history of a politician running for Congress. She lost by like 42 points. Nobody's ever lost like that. So I don't care about Liz Cheney. I care about these people.
President what does day one going to look like for the Trump administration?
Number one, we're closing the border. It's going to be closed very strongly. It's going to be closed. And we're going to have to take people out that are criminals. We have people from jails from all over the world and from mental institutions. And as you know, they're going to have to be removed. And it's one of the reasons I won the election in a landslide. The people of this country don't want murderers walking down their farms or their streets or their cities. As you know, we had thousands of people that murdered other people that were in jail that were released into our country. Many of those people murdered more than one person, many of them, about 42% supposedly. We want them out of our country, and we're going to get a country back again, and we're going to be really governed by common sense. These are the principles of common sense. We're not going to be governed by stupid people. We're going to common sense. We're going to be respected all over the world again very soon.
We're going to be respected real soon. 12 hours ago, Fauci, provably, this is Richard H. Ebright writing on X, Fauci provably violated federal policies on gain of function and enhanced potential pandemic pathogen research, provably committed conspiracy to defraud and perjury, and probably is culpable for the pandemic that killed 20 plus million and cost $25 plus trillion. And there was a transcript that was leaked by the USA Today interview transcript in Joe Biden's last scheduled sit-down interview with a print outlet. Biden talks preemptively pardoning Liz Cheney and Anthony Fauci. Hunter Biden's Pardon the Chips Act, biggest fears of a Trump presidency. Listen.
Transcripts between Joe Biden supporters have encouraged you to. In one of the questions, the interviewer Paige asked Biden, quote, some of your supporters have encouraged you to issue preemptive pardons to people like Liz Cheney and Anthony Fauci, who Trump has threatened to target. Will you do that? Biden says, well, a little bit of it depends on who he puts in what positions. If, in fact, here's how. I was very straightforward with Trump when he got elected. I invited him immediately to the White House. I spent 2 hours with him. He was very complimentary about some of the economic things I had done, and he thought I was leaving with a good record kind of thing. I tried to make it clear that there was no need, and it was counterintuitive for his interest to go back and try to settle scores. Paige said, and did he give you an answer on what he was going to do? Biden said, well, he didn't, but he didn't say, no, I'm going to, he didn't reinforce it. He just basically listened. And she says, so you haven't decided yet? You're still assessing the issue? And Biden says, well, no, I have not. For example, I think there are certain people, like if he were to, I don't want to name their names, I'll tell you off the record, and then it's redacted. But there are other parties that we're following through on to determine that, rectifying some of the correcting powder cocaine difference, things like that. What? Does that even mean? She says, more traditional kind of pardons, and he says, yeah. She says, yeah, speaking of pardons, every parent can understand why you'd want to protect your son. Do you have any concerns that your pardon of Hunter sets a precedent for future presidents, one that might be open to abuse? He says, I hope not, because I meant what I said when I was asked whether I was going to pardon my son. But then I found out two factors. Number one, that he had paid all his taxes. Actually, he didn't pay his taxes. Somebody else paid them for him. He paid them late. He was fighting a drug problem, and he beat it. He's been square and sober for almost 6 years now. This was back in in 2000. And what year was it? Anyway, a long time ago. It wasn't that long ago, by the way. He paid it all, and there were hundreds of people with only 3, 4, or 500,000 who were moving on civilly. He paid all his taxes. He paid the back taxes. He was late. He should have paid it on time, and that he was in a court throughout a plea deal that was agreed to. And then the second thing I found out was that on his purchasing a Pew Pew at the time. You have to sign a form if you're under the influence of anything. Well, I don't even know whether they got straight on the signing of the form. But the point was, no one's ever been tried on that. Nobody. And then he just...
So this is the big story today. We're finding out that these pardons for Fauci are going to go through. Biden confirms he's considering preemptively pardoning Anthony Fauci. It is now 100% confirmed. Joe Biden is considering a preemptive pardon for Fauci, the top doctor during the COVID pandemic. Just in, Joe Biden is still considering preemptive pardons for Liz Cheney, Anthony Fauci, according to the USA Today. Biden wants his legacy to consist of giving a free pass to a man whose thirst for power cost the lives of hundreds of thousands of Americans. Insurrection Barbie. I hear Joe Biden wants to preemptively pardon Anthony Fauci. Well, we have 27 Republican attorneys general, and every single one of them should bring a state case against him. Oh, yeah. That would make Democrats pause next time they want to issue blanket preemptive pardons. Yeah, so you could go ahead and you could pardon him at the federal level, Joe. What she's pointing out is that you have these, at the state level, you can charge him criminally. Find something, right? Right? What is it? What is that saying? You know, show me the person, I'll find you the crime. Isn't that what they tried to do to Donald Trump? Unusual Wales 8 hours ago. Joe Biden is considering preemptive pardons for Fauci and Cheney, according to the New York Times as well. Why would Joe Biden preemptively pardon Anthony Fauci if he weren't guilty of any crimes against humanity? The betting odds are skyrocketing now, up to 39% on Fauci. And here's back December 4th of 2024. Here's what Joe Biden had to say about Anthony Fauci.
A special thanks to one of the great public health officials, a true hero, who we've led this fight against HIV/AIDS, Dr. Anthony Fauci. Where is Anthony?
He salutes him.
And you're a good man. God love you.
Oh, man, he salutes him. Tucker Carlson posted this just a few hours ago. Yes, a preemptive pardon for Fauci is infuriating, but it's also an admission that he's a criminal, which he is. Thank you, Dr. Fauci has all the details. You'll find it at tuckercarlson.com. And I guess this is a trailer for a film that's available at tuckercarlson.com.
Before the President Biden to pardon Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Dr. Anthony Fauci. President Biden is considering issuing preemptive pardons.
Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement.
Those individuals likely caused a pandemic that killed 20 million people and cost $25 billion. I think Anthony Fauci should go to jail, honestly.
They are gain-of-function viruses because they were animal viruses that became more transmissible in human, and you funded it, and you admit the truth.
Some conspiracy theories are wrong. Many are right, actually.
And if anybody is lying here, Senator, it is you.
Available at tuckercarlson.com. Remember when Ron DeSantis said this?
Needs to grab, and I'm just sick of seeing him. I know he says he's going to retire. Someone needs to grab that little elf and chuck him across the Potomac.
Speaking about Dr. Fauci, here's Representative Jayapal saying Biden is right to preemptively pardon J6 committee members, and she backs President Biden should he preemptively pardon members of the partisan J6 committee. And she was talking with Jim Acosta on CNN. Listen.
Go after them. And one of the other things that President Biden said in that interview is he's still thinking about whether or not to issue these preemptive pardons to protect people like Dr. Anthony Fauci and former Congresswoman Liz Cheney if the Trump Justice Department were to be super politicized, I suppose, and go after them in a new Trump administration. Do you think the President Biden should do that on his way out?
Well, I think the fact that Trump and these MAGA Republicans are continuing to deny that January 6th happened, and they are continuing to say that they're going to go after people who demanded accountability for the worst violent assault on the United States Capitol since the War of 1812, I think is something that everyone should be concerned about. And I think that the president is right to, preemptively pardon those individuals who were simply trying to uphold the Constitution. And I think it is a sad day in this country that I still serve, Jim, with 137 Republicans who are election deniers. They don't believe that Biden won the election legitimately in 2020. They're still spreading misinformation about the 2020 election. The ones that were here were part and parcel of trying to contest that election on the House floor on January 6th and denying the violence that happened. I was trapped in the gallery that day. I will not forget how close we came to losing our democracy that day. And I don't think any American should allow that memory to fade, because it is absolutely essential for the future that that Donald Trump does not pardon these insurrectionists who were convicted, and that we discourage this kind of violence. It's stunning to me that we even have to, continue to have the conversation, but it's so important that we do.
It's important that we talk about pardoning the J6ers, the ones who are political prisoners, not the ones that you all targeted. Here is Dr. Fauci who granted exception in Wuhan lab. Now, this was published in May of 2021. Tucker Carlson. I remember that time very well. We were covering it very, very closely.
WHO's investigating more than any other single living American. Tony Fauci is responsible for the COVID-19 pandemic. At the time the outbreak began last fall, the Wuhan lab was conducting experiments on how to make bat viruses infectious to human beings. Those experiments were funded by American tax dollars. Their funding approved and directed by Tony Fauci in Washington. The WHO's investigation into the origins of the virus was fraudulent, and that matters to public health globally. But one thing you'll notice is that Tony Fauci did not say that. Why? Because once again, he is implicated in it personally. The gain-of-function research that Peter Daszak was bragging about in the video we just showed you had in fact been banned explicitly by the US government. There was a federal moratorium on the funding of exactly the kind of gain-of-function experiments that went on in the Wuhan lab to disastrous effects. So why didn't the US government halt its funding of the lab in Wuhan? That is a central question, and Nicholas Wade, to his great credit, looked into it. And here's what he found. Quote, someone wrote a loophole into the moratorium. The moratorium specifically barred funding of any gain-of-function research that increased the pathogenicity of the flu, MERS, or SARS viruses. But then a footnote on page 2 of the moratorium document states that, quote, an exception from the research pause may be obtained if the head of the U.S. government funding agency determines that the research is urgently necessary to protect the public health or national security. And that's exactly the loophole that was exploited. Who signed off on this? Tony Fauci, possibly along with Francis Collins, the director of the NIH, invoked that special exemption in order to keep funding the Wuhan lab and the deadly experiments that were going on there. This wouldn't have happened if Tony Fauci didn't allow it to happen. That is clear. It's an amazing story. It is a shocking story. In a functional country, there would be a criminal investigation currently underway into Tony Fauci's role in the COVID pandemic that has killed millions and halted our country and changed it forever. So why isn't there a criminal investigation into Tony Fauci's role in this pandemic? More than any...
Oh, you see, but there will be. That was Tucker Carlson. You see, there will be a criminal investigation with the new DOJ, the new FBI, the new Trump administration. See, this video came out in 2021. So all this information has been simmering and simmering and simmering. And Biden knows it and Fauci knows it, that they are guilty of these crimes. So that is why they are now strongly and still considering these pardons preemptively for Anthony Fauci. And it all came out again today in the USA Today. Here's when Fauci admitted that he was colluding with Chinese communists.
Minor collaboration as part of a subcontract of a grant. We had a collaboration with some Chinese scientists.
Yeah, Freudian slip there. Fauci seeking a pardon from Biden. This should not happen. And here is this is a clip from the Joe Rogan podcast. RFK Jr. is going to have so much of an impact on healthcare that they're talking about preemptively pardoning Fauci. This is on Joe Rogan.
I wonder what impact RFK Jr. is going to have on the delivery of healthcare now.
Well, he's going to have so much of an impact that they're talking about preemptively pardoning Fauci. How do you pardon someone that didn't do a crime?
Preemptively. That's fine.
How are you pardoning someone where he's not only is he not convicted of a crime, he's not even tried, he's not accused, he's not indicted? What do you...
I guess that's called blanket immunity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's never been done before. There's never been preemptive pardons for people.
Yeah, that's an interesting
that
idea.
may have been committing crimes. Mm-hmm. It's weird.
Yeah. I wonder what impact RFK Jr. is going to have.
It's weird indeed. Oh my. We got some more here for you. Here is Fauci claiming in 2022 that he didn't recommend locking anything down. The clip from 2020 reveals the exact opposite. Watch this.
Recommended president that we... First of all, I didn't recommend locking anything down. And the record will show, Neil, that we didn't recommend shutting everything down. I recommended to the president that we shut the country down. And that was a very difficult decision because I knew it would have serious economic consequences, which it did.
Yeah. Here's Karine Jean-Pierre refusing to deny that Biden's preparing the pardons.
An unusual. Some of the names that have been floated around preemptive pardons, since it would just be such an unusual, extraordinary step. We talked about in the news, we've seen Liz Cheney, Dr. Fauci.
You're talking about the preemptive pardoning.
Right. I understand you don't want to get ahead of the president's thinking, but are any of those names wrong or still? Can you tell? I mean, do you want to tell us anything about?
It would be a bad move on my behalf if I preempted the president or previewed anything that the president was thinking about, considering, and so this is something that he's going to talk with his team about. And I just don't have anything beyond that for you.
Some of the names that have been...
Just don't have anything beyond that for you. But the USA Today transcripts of the interview tell a different story. Here's Senator Rand Paul.
In Trump's preemptive pardons for those in Trump's crosshairs. And it says, those who could face exposure include such members of Congress as Jan 6 Committee Senator-elect Adam Schiff, GOP Rep Liz Cheney, also mentioned by Biden aides, is a pardon for Anthony Fauci, the former head of the NIAID, who became a lightning rod for criticism during COVID. Now, we're told that the president isn't part of this formulation, that it's coming from staffers, and that these individuals, as far as we know, have not asked for a pardon. But what's your take on the fact that this is under discussion?
I think it's a real possibility that Anthony Fauci could get a pardon. He is at risk. I've referred him twice to the Department of Justice. The Biden administration has ignored it. But we have a great deal of evidence that he lied to Congress, which is a felony punishable by 5 years. The proof that we have that he's lying is from his own emails. So we have his private emails gotten by court order, and they contradict what he was saying publicly in a way such that I think we could prove that he has lied to Congress, which is a felony. As far as other pardons, I fully suspect the president will pardon his brother coming up, too. He's protecting Hunter, who has a criminal record, a long and storied criminal record, taking $80,000 a year from a large business in Ukraine. I think also there will be a consideration of whether or not President Biden may want to pardon himself as well. So I think the Biden syndicate of making money did act illegally, and who knows, maybe the president will even pardon himself.
All right. So just real quick, a preemptive pardon before any charges have been brought. You expect that to happen for Anthony Fauci?
After seeing what they did with Hunter Biden, who has a host of convictions, a host of wrongdoing, and they gave him a pardon, not just on what he's been accused of anything he may be accused of over a 10-year period.
It's just like the plea deal that the judge laughed at. It's essentially the.
Yeah. This is all on the table, friends. USA Today breaking the news today. Here's some more.
Universities.
This is when Fauci basically said he was going to put a pressure campaign on the United States people.
Once people feel empowered and protected legally, you were going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. Lady, you're going to get vaccinated. Yeah. Big corporations like Amazon and Facebook and all of those others are going to say, you want to work for us, you get vaccinated. And it's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bullshit and they get vaccinated.
That's exactly what you meant when you said making it hard for people to live without getting a vaccination. You affected people's ability to work, travel, be educated, to actually flourish in American society, to self-determine, as we're all given God-given rights. Shame on you. You inspired and created fear through mass mandates, school closures, vaccine mandates that have destroyed the American people's trust in our public health institution.
Yep. Behind bars is where he belongs, without question. So I'm sure this is going to continue to develop. And that's the headline today. Biden confirms he's considering preemptively pardoning Anthony Fauci. Now, the timing of these pardons isn't coincidental, patriots. With Trump's return to the White House just days away, the deep state is scrambling to protect its own. Fauci's lies about COVID, the Wuhan lab, and those deadly mandates, all potentially buried under presidential pardons. Liz Cheney's role in the J6 witch hunt swept under the rug. So here's the question that should keep every American awake tonight. If these people truly served our country honorably, why do they need presidential pardons before they've even been charged? Drop a comment below. Make a statement with our new Mag Avengers collection available at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. It's linked below. Man, the Vine Productions dropping $10. Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's see what else you guys are saying in the chat room real quick. Fauci is America's Mangala. Spikes for... He's covering his tracks and all his cronies. Protect lawless. Fauci, after due process. He's unfit to stand trial. He's unfit to give consent. Make sure FJB insert the date. Don't like the hate in my heart, says Bad Daddy. But the bird flu is coming. Oh, no. Yeah. All right, let's get to our next topic because the trolling was huge today. Or as Trump would say, huge. Huge. Huge, huge, huge. All right, let's see here. Okay. Folks, while the globalists were busy apologizing for America's greatness, Donald Trump just redrew the map of North America, literally. Tonight, we're revealing Trump's master plan to expand American influence, and the globalists are losing their minds. The Gulf of Mexico, say hello to the Gulf of America. Greenland, well, it's time for some American real estate expansion. The Panama Canal, coming back under U.S. control. And Canada's Trudeau, well, he's having a complete meltdown over Trump's suggestion that Canada is just a strip of land above America. Even Elon Musk joined in on the trolling, and the leftist tears are flowing. And just as Trump's bold vision is expanding America's border, it's time to expand your health horizons too. While global elite panic about Trump's territorial ambitions, your blood pressure doesn't have to spike. GlycoBoost Revolutionary Formula helps maintain healthy blood pressure naturally, perfect for staying calm while we make America greater and larger than ever. Visit boostwithgary.com now and get 40% off while supplies last. Don't let hypertension stop you from celebrating America's expanding influence. Take control of your health while Trump takes control of the hemisphere. Okay, we do a little trolling. That's what Donald Trump likes to say. And he did not hold back today. All he did was post maps. Posting maps on Truth Social. Here's one of the maps. The United States, clearly encompassing all of Canada. Here's another post he made. Oh, Canada. And it just simply shows all of the United States and Canada dressed up in the red, white, and blue. And Representative Brandon Gill, he went on CNN. He said that Donald Trump's bringing us into the golden age. This is the new manifest destiny, he calls it. Let's watch.
Conference yesterday, Trump was asked if he'd rule out using military force to get control of Greenland and the Panama Canal, and Trump would not rule that out. How would acquiring that land help everyday Americans better afford their day-to-day expenses?
Well, first of all, Brianna, thanks for having me.
Now, do you hear the narrative that's already being developed? What the question? How is that going to help Americans pay for their everyday expenses, pay for their groceries? This is the narrative that CNN is planting. And you know what? CNN is not alone. There are others in the Democrat Party who are creating this new narrative, trying to redirect the national security failures that leaving Greenland exposed and the Panama Canal exposed present. They're trying to redirect the question into as if Donald Trump's not doing anything to get the price of groceries down. Let's listen to the question again. Listen very carefully.
Conference yesterday, Trump was asked if he'd rule out using military force to get control of Greenland and the Panama Canal, and Trump would not rule that out. How would acquiring that land help everyday Americans better afford their day-to-day expenses?
Well, first of all, Brianna, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Listen, President Trump is bringing us into a golden age of America. This is the new manifest destiny, reacquiring the Panama Canal, acquiring Greenland, renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. This is the light of America expanding. You know, we have a very clear strategic interest geopolitically, both in Greenland and in the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal, as you know, was created with the blood, toil, tears, and sweat of American citizens. We put an enormous amount of money into it. I don't think we ever should have relinquished control of the Panama Canal. So President Trump...
Conference yesterday, Trump was asked...
So the narrative is starting to develop. Hakeem Jeffries also jumping in on the fun. Listen.
Administration. Jeffries, thank you. What kind of dialogue have you had with the incoming administration, the incoming president, especially given that he'll be on the Hill later today?
It's not my expectation to have any conversation at any point today, but we are looking forward to the dialogue to come in the next few weeks and thereafter to find the common ground necessary in order to get things done for the American people. House Democrats believe that we are not sent to Washington to invade Greenland, rename the Gulf of Mexico, or seize the Panama Canal by force. We were sent to Washington to lower the high cost of living in the United States of America. America is too expensive for working class families and for middle class folks all across the country. That should be our mission, and that's what we're going to focus on over the next few years.
Just to follow up on that.
Hakeem Jeffries doesn't stand a chance in a negotiation that includes Donald Trump. Trump will mop the floor with him. Thank God we have the House and we have the Senate. Now, this is an interesting development. I'll do some flashback clips in a moment here, just for contextual purposes. But this was published a day ago, and this is Macron urging a new European military coalition as an alternative to NATO to help combat Russia and other threats. He says we can't rely on the U.S. or the rest of the world.
European-wide, the United States will have its own defense, and the American defense will more concern the China seas than the confines of Europe. If we solely rely on the American technological base, we're in for sore disappointments, and we cannot rely on the rest of the world. We have to build our own capabilities. We've started doing this with our European friends, with Germany, with the UK, the Italian initiative, ELSA, but we need more ambition, and we need to have a clear European preference in our programs. We need to go much further on the European scale. We have to invest much more within the European Union, and we have to show more ambition in the European political community. This has got to be a place of defense cooperation, because this is European-wide. It is definitely not the same message, the same vocabulary as NATO. I should like to see the United States...
Now, do you see what's happening here? See, Donald Trump, he says, look, NATO, you guys, all you NATO countries got to pay up. Pay up. All right? America's not going to carry you guys anymore. Well, Macron is here saying, well, okay, fine. Well, maybe we'll just create our own European army. Wait a minute. I'm getting like big end time vibes here. All right? And then you combine, the reality of the controversy that is currently brewing with respect to Donald Trump creating a so-called North American Union that would include Canada and Mexico. I mean, he hasn't said he's going to take Mexico. Let's just be clear. And he's joking about Canada. He's putting a lot of pressure. So let's just put that to rest. I don't think that's going to happen. But there is no question about American dominance in this hemisphere. But with all this talk, and then talk of a European army, like these are like, in my mind, like these are all end time points that line up for me, because I do study Bible prophecy. It's one of my favorite things to do. So I understand sort of the biblical macro view that's happening here. So I wanted to bring that to your attention, because that's just how I saw it. But then, I mean, let's go back to this.
Gulf of America, changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's
the Gulf of America coming soon. And of course, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she has already introduced legislation to make that happen.
The world.
And here's Donald Trump. I'm playing this clip again, but for context. But here is Trump talking about taking control of Greenland and the Panama Canal, and being questioned about military or economic coercion.
And the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold a vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you. You're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this. We need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that.
So it's heating up. It definitely is. And here is Trump reacting to the potentially next Canadian Prime Minister saying Canada won't be a 51st state.
Canada said. Mr. President, if we were to work under the assumption that you're serious about making Canada a 51st state of the United States,
the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada said, under no circumstance will ever be the 51st state.
Maybe he won't win, but maybe he will. I don't
Points, you had suggested.
Listen, I don't care what he says.
But Sir Lopez, you were considering military force to acquire Panama and Greenland. Are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something.
And he also posted this map, Canada, U.S., and Greenland. Just posting maps. Germany and France they warn Donald Trump against threats to take control of Greenland from NATO ally. This is the New York Post headline, the Don Rowe Doctrine, Trump's vision for the hemisphere, 51st state, our land, America, Panamaga. Dean Cain says he wants to buy Greenland, but the Democrats saying Democrats want to lower your costs. Trump wants to invade Greenland. See, there's narrative development right there. Here's when Donald Trump arrived at the U.S. Capitol today to honor President Carter. Trump and Melania arrived to pay their respects. And then here is Pocahontas Warren saying that Trump trying to acquire Greenland is the same as Putin invading Ukraine. Now, I want to make something clear. Go back, watch our show, watch our segment on this yesterday. And I thought it was really interesting what Steve Forbes had to say, is that Steve Forbes is like, listen, all the people of Greenland need to do is declare their independence and then apply to become a territory or a state. And you never have to pay $1. There's no invasion. And the prime minister of Greenland he wants that. He wants to remove the control. And Denmark wouldn't have to pay $700 billion a year for defense. And guess what? The Democrats would end up getting a seat in Congress, and one seat in the Congress and 2 seats in the Senate, because they believe that nation largely would be left-wing. But I think after Donald Trump negotiates a deal like that, they're all going to be wearing MAGA hats. Anyway, here is Pocahontas.
Hard against them. We respect the boundaries of other countries. We expect other countries to respect our boundaries. Vladimir Putin with Russia did not do that and invaded Ukraine. And we have pushed back hard against that. That is world order. That's international law. But I want to make a second point, and that is, why is Donald Trump doing this? And I think the answer is, let's have a big distraction and several more questions so we don't spend more time on Pete Hegseth, the nominee to be the head of the Department of Defense. So we don't spend more time on Tulsi Gabbard, who has been in the pocket of Putin and is not someone who should be trusted with our secrets, so that we don't spend more time on Robert Kennedy's views on vaccines. In other words, we have a job in front of us right now, and that is advise and consent on the nominees who are there to run our government.
Thanks for your contribution there, Pocahontas Warren. And correction, I said $700 billion is how much that Denmark would end up saving. It's actually $700 million. I was just corrected in the comments, so thank you for that. So Trudeau is very mad, of course. What exactly you're going to do? We're having this conversation because you have completely failed as prime minister. So yes, we have Elon Musk just trolling Justin Trudeau. I mean, I'm living for these moments right now. So yesterday we reported that Justin Trudeau said this on X, that there isn't a snowball's chance in hell that Canada would become part of the United States. And then Elon Musk says, girl, you're not the governor of Canada anymore, so it doesn't matter what you say. Dude, Elon Musk trolling, and the responses were beautiful. Jenna Ellis, she said, you resign. You don't speak on behalf of Canada anymore. Maybe Epcot Canada will take you. Randy Quaid, he said that Canada is a pretend country that is a narrow strip of people across the top of America. They speak pretend French and not real French. Colin Rugg says, Trudeau is mad. What exactly are you going to do? We're having this conversation because you have completely failed as prime minister. Oh, man. And someone posted this meme of Kevin Trudeau and Donald Trump. This is his resignation speech. And Elon Musk posted this video, okay, 15 hours ago. And this is Donald Trump playing the violin as Trudeau resigns. Yeah, I talked to my family. I'm so sad. This is from First Post 14 hours ago. Tech billionaire and Tesla CEO Elon Musk mocked the outgoing Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau after he dismissed U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's proposal for a U.S.-Canada merger. Oh, it was beautiful. Beautiful to witness. So we're going to continue to track this and watch these narratives as they continue to develop, because the Democrats are going to try to redirect their base into thinking that Donald Trump's not doing anything for them, which is absolutely false. Donald Trump is America first all the way, and he has promised to reduce prices, and by reducing prices, he's going to get the cost of energy down. All right? So don't fall for any of the narratives that are going to come out of the left. I know you guys are smarter than this. Keep an eye over there on Macron, though, starting a European army. Is that going to happen? I don't know. There's been talk about that for a very long time. So we're going to keep a close watch on the Dunroe Doctrine as it continues. Now, Patriots, this is just about renaming the Gulf or buying Greenland. This is about restoring American dominance on the world stage. And while Germany and France issue their weak warnings, Trump is already preparing the next phase of American expansion. The Panama Canal, a crucial strategic asset, could return to U.S. control. Greenland's vast resources could be America's resources. In Canada, well, let's just say Trudeau's response proved Trump's point about weak leadership. So here's tonight's question for you guys to battle it out in the comments. If America is truly the greatest nation on earth, why shouldn't we expand our greatness to help our neighbors? Show your support for American expansion with our Mega Avengers collection at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. All right, let's see where we're at. Okay. Rename Greenland Golfland. No! It should be called, what should it be called? Trumplandia! Yeah, if you follow me on X, you'd see that post I made. Trumplandia is coming. Trump golf courses all over. That's funny. Steak and lobster. All right. Let's get to our fourth topic. This one's kind of scary, actually. Okay. Just one moment. Need to check something here. Okay. Tonight, we're bringing you intelligence that the mainstream media won't touch. Just 12 days before Donald Trump's historic return to the White House, dark forces are mobilizing to stop it. A man with a machete arrested at the Capitol hours before Trump's visit. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. Steve Quayle's warning about 40,000 trained leftist operatives ready to strike. General Flynn and Mark Vargas calling for a private inauguration due to credible threats. And now James O'Keefe has revealed a leaked HHS memo requesting unprecedented medical personnel deployment at the inauguration. Connect the dots, Patriots. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. As the deep state prepares its final stand against Trump's inauguration, there's another crisis brewing the government won't address. It's the collapse of America's bee population. And just like these patriot firefighters standing guard over our republic, bees are the silent guardians of our food supply. While threats mount on D.C., Patriot Bee, they are fighting to save our agricultural independence. So join the resistance at patriotbeebest.com. Use code NNN for your 25% off subscription. Don't let America's food security become another casualty of the deep state's agenda. Okay, so this just in Daily Caller reports that an arrest was made. A man trying to bring a machete and 3 knives into the U.S. Capitol hours before Trump's visit. I mean, who is that stupid? Obviously, a leftist. Capitol Police, you see the headline right there. U.S. Capitol Police arrested a man Wednesday afternoon for attempting to bring a machete and 3 knives into the Capitol Visitor Center, which is attached to the U.S. Capitol building just hours before President-elect Donald Trump was expected to arrive for meetings with Republicans. Capitol Police released a statement saying he was arrested just after 2 p.m. Eastern. Officers spotted the machete and 3 knives together in the man's bag as he was trying to enter the CVC. He was arrested and charged with carrying a dangerous weapon. So, they are not hiding it anymore. And then I stumbled upon this. And I'm going to get to this breaking news from James O'Keefe and some strange insurance company moves. But you know what? Let's get to Mark Vargas here, because I know we played this the other day, but Mark Vargas, he's an inside man. He is one of the architects of the Roger Stone commutation, the pardon. He's also one of the architects of the Rod Blagojevich commutation. So Vargas knows what he's talking about. He's a former member of the Department of Defense. I know him personally. He's been here in the studio, and I mean, the guy swam in Saddam Hussein's swimming pool in Iraq after we claimed that land. Okay, so that, I'll tell you, that's how far this guy goes. This is how deep he is. So take what he says seriously.
I think there's got to be the federal government has already proven that they cannot protect President Donald Trump. So I agree with General Flynn. I think there's got to be a scaled down inauguration, because the number one priority is to ensure that President Trump safely takes the oath of office. And can he do that effectively in Washington, standing on the west front of the Capitol with all of these threats? I don't think so. The federal government.
Yeah, too many threats abound. And now here is what Steve Quayle just warned about.
To 40 to, let me make this clear. We are under a communist regime, in my opinion, and every communist revolution is based on armed conflict. And what my sources are saying is there's close to 40 to 50,000 trained leftists, and those are people that hate the country, that want revolution, that are ready to go into action prior to the 20th inauguration. That's a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody wonders, well, why is everyone silent? They're waiting for the quintessential contact point to basically make their move. And ladies and gentlemen, we are watching absolutely the takedown and the placement of the troops that hate our guts. And it's too late. And I mean this, look at what happened with the open borders. And kudos to President Trump for putting up the gates. And what does Biden do? He wants to scrap it and sell the steel. What did he do with our strategic petroleum reserve? He lowered it. When I had an actual contact from a implant, he said, I am inside the Communist Party USA. And he said, we are armed and we're going for it. They're not settling for bricks anymore. They're not settling for disrupting Portland. They're not settling for burning cities down. They're going for gold. And in their mind, gold are the people that are withstanding their takeover and takedown. Now, look at what Biden just did. I'm conscious of the time, that he just, in essence, he wasted, he laid waste to the U.S. military. The whole woke drove it broke. And now we don't have what we used to have to even defend the country. Let me make.
Now, think about what he's saying there. At the last Trump inauguration in Washington, D.C., all hell broke loose. They were burning limousines in the streets. They were rioting. Antifa went absolutely nuts, and he's with bricks and firebombs. What Steve Quayle is warning is even worse, saying this time they are not going to hold back. And I wouldn't put it past them to amplify their threats, given everything that we've seen. James O'Keefe, this is the internal memorandum distributed by Derek Gestad, the executive director for the VHA Office of Emergency Management, requesting medical personnel ahead of the 2025 presidential inauguration. Here is the memo. And James O'Keefe exposing it. But now this woman here, well, we're going to play her remarks in a moment. But what she points out, in the insurance industry, a curious change was made in documents requiring their responsibility for coverage. Oh, wait till you see what she has to say. It'll blow your freaking mind. But before we get to that, let's hear James O'Keefe, Veterans Affairs Insider reveals HHS memo detailing unprecedented presidential inauguration medical personnel support deployment request. And quote right there, what concerned me was that this has never been requested before, especially not from HHS. Listen.
An internal memo from the Veterans Administration surfaced containing an unusual request: support for the upcoming presidential inauguration. A high-level source inside the Department of Veterans Affairs has disclosed a memo from the Executive Director, Office of the Emergency Management within Veterans Affairs. The source inside the VA said the source deployment request did not occur for the last two inaugurations. We spoke to the source inside the VA to ask if this is something that's typical. So can you just talk a minute about this being typical or not typical within the VA, them doing these sorts of things for the past few inaugurations?
What concerned me was that this has never been requested before, especially not from HHS. What we have, what I saw to me was a little bit unnerving. I've been in the VA for several inaugurations, and this was the first time they have ever asked for DEMS personnel.
First time they've ever asked for personnel.
For an inauguration, yes.
Why do you think that is?
I have no idea. That's why I decided to send that memo to you, because I believe that there's something unnerving about it. I'm not 100% sure, but my gut says this is not normal, and it's not.
The memo details a formal request from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Strategic Preparedness and Response, or ASPR. It calls upon the Veterans Administration to provide critical medical support for the event. Specifically, they sought the deployment of paramedics, registered nurses with expertise in emergency and medical surgical care, and licensed medical practitioners, including MDs, DOs, NPs, PAs, specializing in emergency medicine. The memo is signed by Derek Justad, who is the Executive Director for the VHA Office of Emergency Management. We ask, is this request part of a standard protocol for inaugurations, or is there a specific reason for the heightened medical readiness? We sent an email to the email address provided on the memo, and we have not yet heard back. We also gave a call to the Executive Director himself, Justad.
This is Derek.
Hi, Derek Justad.
Yes.
Hi there. You wrote a memo dated December 10th, distributed internally, and it was said urgent, and you were talking about preparations for the inauguration. I'd like to ask you a few questions about the memo.
How can I help?
A source within the VA has told us that it's quite unusual. Is it typical that you guys out of the Office of Emergency Management deploy these resources for a presidential inauguration?
I can't speak to every, but two out of at least the last three, I want to say 3 out of the last 4.
Well, the source inside the VA is saying that this has not been done for previous inaugurations.
I can't help what the source within the VA has chimed or has claimed, but that is not the case. And indeed, we have supported presidential inaugurations previously. And I would refer you to the Assistant Secretary for Preparedness Response at the Department of Health and Human Services to attest to that fact.
Can you send me the previous memos?
I would refer you to the FOIA office, Freedom of Information, as I do not have access to materials going back that far.
We filed a FOIA request last week.
Okay, great.
But that's going to take months, if not a year, to receive. We also submitted a Freedom of Information Act request to the Department of Health and Human Services to confirm whether this level of medical support is standard procedure. We have not heard back. So what I'm trying to ascertain is if and I know this is something that you don't know, is whether or not this is something that happens for each inauguration. Do you know who could help me answer that question?
Yes, VHA Communications.
So you guys have done this during the last inauguration with Joe Biden, the first inauguration of President Trump in 2017. The Obama before that. You guys have done this in the past several inaugurations. You're saying?
I personally can't speak to previous inaugurations.
So why is this specific presidential inauguration generating a request for such a significant deployment of medical personnel? Does the Department of Health and Human Services have information regarding a potential event or risk on that day? What is the purpose behind all of this? Now, if you're a source inside the federal government, the time to provide information or come forward is now. The American public deserves clarity on matters such as these. Transparency builds trust, which is vital to the democratic process. Reach out to us on our Signal account at 914-491-9395 or tips@o'keefemediagroup.com, and stay tuned. After experience...
Man, James O'Keefe is an American hero. And think about, the last couple of weeks. We had that scare with the New Jersey drones. Our own source said that they were sniffing for dirty bomb material. There was also talk that these were Chinese or Iranian drones. I mean, aside from that, focusing on the potential for a dirty bomb during the inauguration, that's a terrifying prospect. And if that's one of the reasons why they have deployed this increase, it's major cause for concern, especially if you are attending the inauguration. Now, this is what Wall Street Apes post. Extremely concerning health insurance policies just updated in 2024 with new exclusions and expenses not covered. Treatment of an injury or a sickness which is due to war, declared or undeclared, or a riot or an insurrection. Yeah, listen.
Decade. And y'all need to check your insurance policies. Listen to this. This is something that made me go, As you may know, I have had my insurance license in the state of California for over a decade. And when I was reviewing policies for 2024, I noticed this new exclusion. Look here, this is under exclusions and expenses not covered on a 2024 Cigna health policy. Treatment of an injury or sickness which is due to war, declared or undeclared, riot, or insurrection. This is not typical. This is an insurance policy from United last year for 2023. And the language typically reads like this: what happens with my coverage under extraordinary circumstances? And it says in cases of disaster, epidemic, war, riot, insurrection, that they will do their best to provide the services you need. But now take a look at United's 2024 health insurance policy, another exclusion, T, war. We do not cover an illness, treatment, or medical condition due to war, declared or undeclared. Cigna and United aren't the only ones that have changed their language excluding war from their policies. Anthem has also done this. And it just makes you wonder, why in the world would that be the case? Y'all need to check your insurance policies.
Yeah, why would that be the case? So all the insurance companies are now updating their policies that if you are injured due to war or insurrection or civil unrest, nope, we're not going to cover you. Then you got the HHS memo that declares that we need more medical personnel on site for the inauguration. You've got Steve Quayle's warning of trained leftists ready to act before Trump's inauguration. You got former DOD official Mark Vargas and General Flynn calling for President Trump to cancel the inauguration ceremony. You got this guy getting caught at the Capitol trying to bring a machete and 3 knives. Folks, be fully aware these next 12 days. The evidence is overwhelming, patriots. Veterans Affairs insiders leaking memos about unprecedented medical preparations. Capitol Police on high alert. General Flynn warning about the risks of a public ceremony. The same deep state that orchestrated the Russia hoax, pushed COVID lockdowns, and weaponized the DOJ is making its final desperate move. But here is what keeps the elites up at night. What happens when millions of patriots show up to defend Trump's rightful return to power? Stand ready with our limited edition MAG Avengers gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. There it is, folks. There it is. There it is. $58.44 in Super Chat. 41 new members in this episode. Holy cow. I checked today and we had like 250 new members. And now we're like at almost 300 new members. That is so exciting. Barry Electronics. Trump has God on his side. He's invincible balls of steel. Tyler says insurance companies are modern day psychics. Let's see. We got, they will continue to try and assassinate him for his entire term. You can be sure of it, says Sixus Designs. The deep state is desperately seeking our destruction, says Big Red. Darla says Joe Biden didn't win the election. He cheated and they all know it. And we will not forget what y'all have done to us and our country. Vicky says, unfortunately, several policies, many didn't cover that even before now. I'll be surprised if some companies don't go bankrupt after last year. Yeah. You guys rock. Gavin Newsom. Love Gary. Gavin Newsom for prison. I'm broke till the 15th. Gary, you're welcome. Suggesting memberships idea. Thank you, Viv. Thank you, Viv. You got me going. Thank you. All right. Okay. Let's jump into the latest in the news feed, and then we're going to call it a night because it's getting late. And it looks like our news feed is slowly coming into view. Here is Adam Carolla ran from a hotel after the LA wildfires forced to evacuate him, where he predicts Hollywood leftists will be so frustrated by the rebuild effort that they will not vote Democrat. Oh, yeah. You know that was coming.
The guys who lost their $20 million homes on the ocean side of PCH will be knee-deep in the permit process. They will be trying to pull permits when the guys in the Winnebagos will have been back for months before those guys ever get a permit. As a matter of fact, good fucking luck. Because here's the deal. Alan Hamill and Suzanne Summers moved because they could not get a permit to rebuild their home of 40 years on the ocean on PCH, right? So here's what's going to happen. Let me just give you guys a little primer of what's going to happen. You know how Bill Maher seems real conservative now when he's like arguing with Jane Fonda about regulations, too many regulations, like strangling everything? Because remember, when Bill Maher tried to put solar in his house in Beverly Hills, that's when he turned against the government, because he saw what the government and the overreach of government and overregulation does. He got strangled. It took him 3 years to build a solar shack. He had a whole countdown on his show, day 1,000 since I've got my permit for my solar. He turned. Okay. The people who live in Malibu, who live in Santa Monica, who live in the Palisades, those are some of the most progressive blue voters in the world, or in the United States. They are a bastion of blue. So what those guys did is, all the people in the Palisades, I checked it out. It's about 80% blue, 80% progressive, 80% Democrat. Now, these pussies are all sitting around crying about Karen Bass, water pressure, how come the forest wasn't cleared of all the brush, what's happening with the infrastructure. You guys all voted for Karen Bass, the mayor of Los Angeles. You all voted for Gavin Newsom. And now you fucking get what you get. Oh, now that your house is on fire, well, now you're thinking about something else. Now you want to know what's going on. What's going on around here? You didn't give a shit about what was going on when other people's houses were on fire, but now you care. So here's what's going to happen. All these people who were deep blue Democrats are now going to have to pull a permit to rebuild. And they're going to get the 28-year-old bitch from the Coastal Commission telling them to go fuck off. And then they're going to vote for Trump or whoever's Trumpian next. You see, they're going to get turned. They're going to get turned hard because, as I've always said, live in the rent control apartment in Santa Monica, fine, good. We know how you vote. Go deal with the city. Try to pull a permit. These are going to be thousands of homes, super wealthy people, and these people don't want to live in Van Nuys. They like it where they are. They love Malibu. They love the Palisades. They love Santa Monica. There's going to be a whole bunch of rich people, and they're going to go, I'm rebuilding, and I want to rebuild as fast as I can. And between the part where they go in to the planning commission and plan check and initially and try to pull a permit to the time the first load of lumber, the first load of 2x4s is dropped off on their lot where their house formerly stood, it's going to be 3 years. And 1,000 permits and 1,000 arguments and 1,000 discussions with the Coastal Commission, not to mention little tidbits that they didn't think about, like Carson Daly. You want a swimming pool? Yep. Got to be double hulled. Really? Yeah. Well, why? Well, what if water leaches out and gets into the groundwater table? Carson Daly had to build a swimming pool like a modern day oil tanker. Had to put like a double hulled. That's all right. It'll just cost $500,000 for a swimming pool. Like that, they're going to be, when they start getting the regulation, they're going to go nuts. And when they start running into the bureaucracy and the red tape, they're going to start going nuts, and they're going to vote for Rick Caruso next time because they want to get. That's all Trump says is we're going to pull back the regulations. We're going to free people up. They're going to find out. They're going to get bit by their own snake. They are going to convert. I am telling you, these are the bluest people on the planet, and they're going to be fucking ripshit pissed when the city and the Coastal Commission tell them to fuck off. And by the way, I don't think the Coastal Commission is going to okay anyone rebuilding any of their houses on the coast because they say they're in the business of protecting the coast. They're in the business of getting you to leave. They will get their wish, which is no buildings.
Yep.
And they're going to make it hard for everyone. And then we're going to have to restructure the whole thing because we can't have 9 angry lesbians controlling everything that goes on in Malibu, the Palisades, and Santa Monica.
Wow. What a profound revelation. I am reposting that. Holy cow. Listen to this.
The guys.
Think about what he's saying here. What he's saying here is that, and I've seen those pictures of along the Pacific Coast Highway, completely leveled properties where they show the houses gone from the highway. I mean, on Malibu. If you've ever been up there, beautiful. I've only been up there a couple times, but there's no houses. All there is just slabs going, and you can look right out to the ocean. And I could see all the crazy leftist environmentalists loving to just keep that land completely open. No more houses. I mean, that was all part of, the fabric of Malibu, the fabric of California, the fabric of the Pacific Coast Highway. But there could be a massive land grab after this, especially all those properties that were wiped out I showed you about. 2 hours ago, Gavin Newsom got at least 5 of his constituents killed from the wildfires and cost his constituent many billions of dollars. He should resign immediately and be indicted for manslaughter. Wow. Wow. Okay. I got to go. Folks, been a great show. Thank you so much for joining us. And there you have it. What a night. What we've uncovered today isn't just news. It's a blueprint of the deep state's desperation. So let's recap what we have learned. California, the liberal paradise, literally burning to the ground. Empty fire hydrants, a woke fire department more concerned with pronouns than water pressure, and a mayor who was in Ghana while her city turned to ash. James Woods broke down in tears describing the devastation. Who can blame him? This is what happens when DEI policies replace common sense. And then we expose Biden's desperate attempt to shield Fauci and Liz Cheney with preemptive pardons. I mean, think about that. Pardoning people before they're even charged. It's not justice, it's a cover-up, plain and simple. Meanwhile, Trump's vision for American expansion has the globalists in full panic mode. The Gulf of America, Greenland, the Panama Canal. This is what leadership looks like. And poor Justin Trudeau, well, even Elon Musk couldn't resist mocking Canada's meltdown. But perhaps most critically, we exposed a gathering storm around Trump's inauguration. 40,000 trained operatives ready to act. An unprecedented deployment of medical personnel. A machete-wielding man at the Capitol. Connect the dots, patriots. The deep state is terrified of Trump's return. Now, I want to thank everyone who sent in super chats and Rumble rants tonight. $58.44, almost hit 60. You gonna help us get over that number? Help us break 60 tonight. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. Your support doesn't just keep us on the air; it keeps the truth flowing. Your voice matters in this fight. Speaking of support, we do need you now more than ever. The powers that be would love nothing more than to silence us, and you can visit the donation links in the description. Every dollar you give helps us expose what they don't want you to see. And don't forget to grab your exclusive Mag Avengers gear at shop.nextnewsnetwork.com. Our gear is flying off the shelf. Why? Because patriots understand what is at stake. So tell a friend about the show. Share our clips. Join our channel membership for exclusive content and perks. The algorithm can't stop person-to-person sharing. They can't stop the truth. Tomorrow is going to be another explosive day of revelation, so we'll be back, same time, same place, fighting the same fight, because that's what patriots do. From all of us at the Raw Feed, thank you for standing with us. Good night, and stay vigilant, America.